Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Time for garden questions and answers. Send them on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or give us a call toll free, 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. We'll see what we can work through to the top of the hour.
All right, so we had a question come in via email?
YouTube.
Oh, YouTube. I have an issue with my rhubarb plants. I have 2 rhubarb plants, each in a 10-gallon fabric grow bag on bright flagstone patio in Southern California. It gets hot out there. I bought them as 4-inch plants in a nursery in this past May. The rhubarb was beautiful initially, grew huge leaves, but now it's dropping leaves. The edges are turning gray, splotches on the leaves. Most of the stalks look good, and then there's this, kind of disease look. I did look it up. There are some diseases that rhubarb gets, and most of what I read is just to discard the plants. I'm at a loss at this point. I don't know what's going on with them, if the stalks are any good. Most of my plants, tomatoes, potatoes, tomatillo, are looking very ragged, and one person at the local garden center saw a picture of my tomatoes and said it looked like the leaves were burning, just too hot out there. Thank you. So, rhubarb is only ideal for zones 3 to 8, and I looked this up. Southern California is 9 and 10 zones.
So it's way out of, and that's the thing here. They bought it at a garden center, which probably was selling plants. We've got garden centers here in our area. You do too, that sell plants outside of what's.
I mean, they sell like avocado trees up here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That outside. So it's not the fault of the consumer. It really is the education of the garden center to the consumer. Hey, tropical, okay, fine. Give me more information than that. Properly, year round, that type of thing.
As far as, so I would, if you do think it is disease, which it might be, but it sounds like it's just burning up.
It's outside of its.
Yeah, it's outside of its zone.
Yeah.
But if it is possibly diseased, then you would want to toss them. As far as growing rhubarb again, you would have to.
Don't do it.
I mean, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't.
Farmers market,
but you can. There are different ways to find, whether it be articles or books or whatever for your growing zone, how to do it. When I was kind of researching this question, it does say you can get creative with shade and etc. for Southern California. If you are like that into rhubarb, you could put in the effort.
Your family's not.
No, absolutely not.
Won't even let me put it in the ground at the garden.
It's not allowed.
It's got to be in containers.
So
what happened?
I'm not telling you. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
So yeah, as far as the tomatoes, tomatillos, potatoes, etc., it's possible again that this is too hot.
In Texas, there's a dormant area where they don't grow anything.
Yeah, non-growing time, and that might be the case here. So,
didn't this viewer say that they were new at gardening or relatively new? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So that is the answer, not only for that individual, but for anybody outside of that zone that is listening to us via podcast replay or in-studio video. There's only certain areas in which certain produce will grow good or successfully. So be sure you're aware of what you're trying to grow and where it should be grown before you try to grow it. Can I overwater tomatoes in a planter, Holly?
Yes, you can overwater the planter. You want the soil to be damp 2 inches below the soil. So you would just put your finger there to kind of check. And then you can use mulch to help keep that moisture in. You don't want to water excessively. You just want to water efficiently. So checking to make sure your plants do need water, even if the top of the soil looks a little bit dry, they might not need it, versus checking so that you can keep it, efficiently watered.
Well, let's go to the other side of that, as they say, coin. You can water your container and think it's watered, but it's really not watered because the water is running through, the soil is to the point of almost hydrophobic or repelling water, or it just it finds a easy way out, so it just keeps running out the bottom of the grow bag or the container. So you're going to have to work and water that plant very, very thoroughly. once you get that hydration in the soil, then it's going to be easier for that next watering to occur. But you would be absolutely amazed at how much water it takes to hydrate a 10-gallon grow bag that is almost completely bone dry, and how long it takes. So we want to avoid allowing these situations to occur so we can continue the moisture, because once the soil gets to about powder dry, your plant has already been toasted. So be aware of that, and utilize mulch even in containers. Perfectly fine with that. All right. Can I use AC or air conditioning water for my garden? The outspout that comes out of the house drips, or the window unit that drips?
You absolutely can. So you can use it to water your plants. It's totally safe. You could use it to clean, if you wanted to rinse something off, etc. There's no problem with that. It's basically just like the same condensation method that if you had a glass of like cool iced water, that condensation that forms on the outside of that glass.
Would like a glass of water without the water?
Yes.
Cold glass of water without the water.
Yeah. I don't think I would drink the air conditioning condensation water.
No, it's not recommended, because there can be bacteria in that through the coils in which the freon flows through. The freon is obviously not mixing in with the water, but there can be bacteria. So if you're wanting to consume that, proper filtration is important to consume that water. But utilizing it in water, and if you're cleaning it and you're using a product mixing in with the water, like a soap or whatever, or using it in the garden, like you said, because the soil has what is called a buffering capacity in which it is safe to use, or, it will protect itself.
Filter out that bacteria or protect itself, yeah. And that's perfectly fine. I know we have done that with the water. There's a church right by my mom's house. Is that where we got it from?
Correct.
Yeah, and we got the water from the condensation from their air conditioner, and it worked out quite well. So that is definitely an option that you can utilize. It's smart. It's smart to utilize, what you can to conserve water, especially if you are, I know people are saying utilities aren't getting any cheaper, so.
We've come to the portion of the program, Holly, where we discuss what we learned today.
So I kind of knew this, it is a common myth that organic food is safer than non-organic, and I just like that it's becoming known that that's a myth.
I learned that, our guest Graham Gardner, who is in Puerto Rico and has a flower farm, that there's really not that many problems, at least at this point, with insects and animals. I kind of had, a misconception of, you're in a tropical island, you're probably going to have snakes and these monkeys and all, what you think tropical things would just be coming in and ransacking your garden. You don't know what you don't know, but also you shouldn't think what you know before you check to make sure what you know is correct.
Right.
What we learned today is brought to you by Honey Bee Healthy.
Whether you're a gardener, a bee hobbyist, or a professional beekeeper, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has the products to help you maintain a healthy hive and thriving garden. For more information on how to use Honey Bee Healthy in your garden, visit honeybeehealthy.com.